Hello everyone, I'm your lovely host, Cinnamon Walkin. Welcome to Love, Money, Rock and Roll. I guess I'm getting reprimanded by the whatever his name is, the principal. He's not important. I'm just kidding. He kind of looks like, forgot what he looked like, but he looks like someone that I've seen in basic animes or games. But anywho. The old man apparently hadn't been expecting the degree of repentance from me. I have seen the error of my ways, and I promise this will never happen again. Well, that's the most important thing, the fact that you understand and to avoid the repetition. Alright, go now or you'll be late for your class. I think you already made me late, thank you very much. I formally took my leave and marched out of his office. So, why didn't you tell me that this Elisama of yours is a Kobayashi? There were still a couple minutes left before the beginning of the lesson. I did tell you. No, you didn't. You said her grandfather was the chairman of the board of trustees, as if I'm supposed to know who this chairman is. That's the problem, that you never know anything. Anyway, why do you ask? I called into the principal's office just now. For skipping class? What else? At that moment, the bell rang. More drama ensues. What's gonna happen next on... I'm just kidding, I just started, so I can't just end the video. Only now did I remember about Catherine. She sat behind me, so I couldn't watch her continuously. Was she writing anything down? How was I going to grab her notebook unnoticed anyway? Surprisingly, I was hardly at all anxious. Sleep hard clarified my thinking such that I found the whole situation more intriguing than troubling. The closing bell finally rang. Catherine got up and left the classroom. This was my chance to be the hero that I always dreamed to be, before I slowly fell. I approached her desk trying to look at as inscopish I can't talk as possible. I glanced around. My classmates were all minding their own business. I leaned down, opened the notebook, flipped through the pages. No, the handwriting was completely different. But how? Why? Sure, I had some issues with Japanese characters, but this much was obvious. Catherine did not write yesterday's note. Ano-kun. I stood at the attention, caught, exposed, disgraced. Go to the teacher's room with Iwamura-san and bring the printouts for the next lesson. That was close. I looked at Iwamura. She stood staring indifferently out the window. Right now, I wanted only one thing, to get out of the classroom as quickly as possible. Hi, well, should we get going? She just slowly moves, that's kind of scary. I can go alone. She didn't even look at my direction. But we were told to go together. I'll manage by myself. Under different circumstances, I would gladly agree with her. Listen, I understand and all, but I've already been to the principal's office already, not burning with desire to go back. I'm sorry, I couldn't, like... I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but you probably are, because it's connected to my Steam, and I think it's recording my Steam, but pop-up keeps popping up, and it keeps... One of my friends keep deciding to play Monster Hunter World and stop playing Monster Hunter World, so I'm like... Make up your mind, but anywho, as you wish. Iwamura shrugged and headed toward the door. The hallways were unexpectedly deserted. It was as if the students were hiding out in the anticipation of something. Iwamura walked in silence. After I defended her a day earlier, this is how she was acting. This awkward silence desperately demanded a conversation to break it. So, do you have to walk like this often? Couldn't think of anything better to say. She raised her eyes and looked at me in surprise. That was a first. So I did achieve the desired effect after all. Well, of course I am the class president. Oh yeah, right, sorry. Silence again. It's just that we never really talked and I didn't even know your first name. Why do you need to? It's only natural here. I'm Nikolai. this visibly embarrassed Imura, who seemed to be hesitating with the answer. In Japanese culture, addressing someone by their first name is a sign of familiarity. This is especially true in our case, but I didn't hold fast to all these conventions. Kagume, she said quietly. What, really? A loud burst of laughter escaped my lips, spooking several passing girls who steered a wide berth around us. What's so funny? Nothing, it's just, well, you know, it's a weird name. Kagame is a Japanese children's game and a song from it. This is the reason Nikolai is surprised about his classmate's strange name. No weirder than yours. Why, what's wrong with my name? It's a normal name. Nikolai, Nicholas if you prefer, or Nick. You're all the same. She was starting to get worked up, it seemed. There's we, the Ganjin. Ganji means foreigner in Japanese, often used in derogatory, disdain context manner. No, the local morons. How rude! Kagame snorted and turned away. Listen, do you have a problem with me? I think it's you who has a problem. Oh, really? And what is it? I'm curious. Who's that new foreigner? I opened my mouth in surprise. Why would she be asking about that? Why? You've been staring at her nonstop for the last 2 days. Have you been spying on me? You have to be blind not to notice, she responded, unfazed. That's really none of your business. And he's probably like, I'm so, like, hurt, and don't bring it up. She broke my heart. Of course it's not. Kagame smirked. But neither is my life any of your business, so why are you prying? She had a point. Say she's someone you've known before. Say you used to see each other. Say you don't know her. She's just a somebody that I used to know. Somebody. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry if I hurt anyone's ears. It's just that's legit what it made me thought of. Honestly, we used to see each other. I'm gonna say that, but she denies that we did nothing. So I guess she legit is somebody I just used to know. Say you don't know her. We were in a relationship at one point. Kagame's facial expression was hard to read, and she remained silent. Why did you bring her up anyway? It's not every day that we have a new student in our class, and such a striking foreigner at that. I'm a foreigner too, you know. She looked me up and down, snickered, and said, yeah, sure. I knew it. Wrong features for a Japanese, but now I was being denied the title of a proper Ganjin as well. Are you always like this? I was starting to lose my temper. We have arrived. Wait here. Hey. Just in time too, before I could open my mouth. Kagame went into the teacher's room, but before I knew it, she was back with a large pile of papers. She must do this a lot. Carry it. What? All of it? I couldn't see any way to carry the heap comfortably. What if we carry half? Didn't you yourself volunteer to come along? No, I didn't. The teacher sent me, if you just recall. Okay, give it to me. Kagame attempted to take all of the papers from me at once. Oh no, that won't do either. Which of us looked more pathetic now? Spurred on by wounded pride, I walked fast so then return trip took considerably less time. I dropped the mountain of papers onto the teacher's table with a thud while Kagame took her seat and returned to her customary window gazing. That's me at school. I used to like stare out the window. I'd be like, must be nice to be so free. It's so far. Or I'd go to sleep, but I was the sleeper in class too. I guess no one deserves to be bullied, but man, I could almost understand those punks from yesterday. Judging by the clock, the bell was less than a minute away. Catherine's desk was empty. I turned to Michael, who sat next to her. Did Catherine? The new girl, did she go somewhere? Don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. Why? Never mind, no reason. Bummed, I sat down at my desk. Could she have somehow noticed that I opened her notebook? No way, Catherine wasn't even in the classroom at the time. Did someone tell her? How long ago did she leave? I'm telling you, I don't know. Are you talking about the new girl? I think she went to the principal. Classmate had overheard our conversation. Thanks. The chair beneath me felt like it was on fire. That's how badly I wanted to run after her. But to what end? What was I going to tell her? As the bell sounded, my feet seemed to acquire all of their own. They carried me to the door, then past the teacher and out into the hallway. Turned the corner at a run and stopped. What the hell was I doing? Why all this? The school had gone silent, frozen still, as though in awe of the skeptical might of pure knowledge. I was slowly tiptoeing through the empty hallways toward the principal's office. If I were to run into one of the teachers now, I would have explained to myself all over again. On the other hand, it would be no better if I showed up at his office myself. Speaking of which, here it was. I pressed an ear to the door, but no sound was coming from the other side. Either they were playing the silent game or Catherine was not there. So what next? It was too late to go back to class. I wandered the empty hallways and didn't even notice how I ended up in the old wing. Our school had been repeatedly rebuilt since its first opened doors right after the war, with the new buildings added on as old ones fell into decay. Inefficient, if you asked me. Why not tear down the old structure first and build a new one in its place? Theoretically, there wouldn't have been anyone in this wing, but suddenly I heard music. A guitar. The sound was coming from what, judging by the plaque, was the old music classroom. I opened the door a crack. Nice, that's pretty cool. None other than Ellie Kobayashi. I guess that's where the rock and roll comes in. Of all people, she was the last one I expected to find here. She was doing a fine job playing, though. The tune was nice and the execution was equally good. Music at least was one area that I knew a thing or two about. Ellie herself seemed to be glowing with happiness, looking like the prim princess whom I encountered in the principal's office that morning. Cool though this lyrical digression was, I certainly couldn't let a chance like this slip by. Well, well, and who do we have here? The guitar went abruptly mute. My applause was the only sound interrupting the silence that had descended on the place. Ojo-sama, I did not know that you played a guitar, too. Many emotions flitted across her face: embarrassment, surprise, annoyance, and resentment. I'm sorry that my friend cannot make up their mind about if they want to play Monster Hunter or not. And it's so hard to read the sentences when it keeps popping up. You. Please pay no attention to me. Carry on. You, what are you doing here? Followed a beautiful siren song, but I could never have imagined it would be you, Ojo-sama. Enough. Ellie blurted out, stood up abruptly, and froze as if not knowing what to do next. Hey, come on, don't take offense. I just didn't realize you played a guitar. Somehow I don't associate you with this instrument. Now, a violin, maybe. I can play violin too, she cut in. Really? Well, that's cool. And why aren't you in class? It's no mystery why I'm skipping. What about yourself? Not skipping, we have a break. Alright. I smirked. You don't have to justify yourself to me. Not justifying myself, you on the other hand should watch your behavior. What were you doing at the principal's this morning? I came for a cup of tea. In any case, it's none of your business. I wasn't trying to be rude, but that's exactly how it came out. Actually, it is my business, seeing as my grandfather. I'm aware. She gave me a surprised look. What is it, a secret? No, of course not. Even if you are. Suddenly we heard voices in the hallway. Hide! Ellie whispered anxiously. Why? It's a break for you and I'm used to it. I said, sardonic. I cannot talk. I bleat in a lover voice. Oh, I thought it said. I thought it said lover. It said lower. Dang it. She didn't answer but was looking at me pleadingly. She must have had her reasons. Oh, I could totally be a dick right now though if I wanted. I feel like I want to, but I'm nice, so I'll hide. Very well, except I don't see where we could hide here. In here, Ellie grabbed my hand and dragged me to a small door which I had missed initially. The door opened into a cramped utility closet. Ooh, we're all pressed up against each other. Nice, I'm just kidding, we're just like this. Most guys would be jealous of that, I bet. Hesitated, the closet was definitely not roomy enough for 2 people. Get in already, however, she clearly thought otherwise because next thing I knew she literally shoved me inside before stepping in herself. Aw, she's all blushy now. Great, we were now packed in like sardines. And this place reeked. Yet, perceptible above the stench of dampness, moldiness, and dust was the sweet aroma of Ellie's perfume. Killer combination to say the least. The classroom door opened and several people entered. Think I heard something. You must have misheard, Kiyama-sensei. Principal was talking to one of the teachers. I'm not hearing things. I may be getting on in years, but I'm still more capable. Heavens no, Kiyama-sensei. I didn't even mean anything of the sort. Anyhow, this ramshackle place should have been torn down long ago. Third voice joined the conversation. This ramshackle place, as you called it. Principal let out a sigh so loud I could hear it clearly even from the closet. I remember arriving here as a young teacher right after the war. Traded in my rifle for a pointer, you could say. Chalk had taken the place of ammunition. I would have guessed that our principal was so sentimental. I shifted my gaze toward Ellie. She turned red like a lobster. Her breathing became rapid and irregular. An awkward situation to be sure. Just because she played the guitar didn't necessarily mean she had lots of experience in the area of, well, you know. But who was I to judge? Yes, I'd gone out with Catherine, but I've gotten somewhat used to her, whereas here was a completely different girl standing next to me. And by next, I mean right up against me. My heart started beating faster and I gulped loudly. Ellie gave me a frightened look. I made a face that was supposed to mean quiet. She seemed to have understood. Meanwhile, the principal continues oration. After all of that, you talk of this is our cultural heritage. It should be made into a museum. Certainly, Kiyama-sensei, but let's go now. We have a meeting coming up. Yes, forgive me. I got a bit carried away. The moment that the door closed behind them, Ellie came flying out of the closet. Stepped out after her. I had to say something. It was a bit tight in there. She looked at me dumbfounded. Tight? You pervert, you groped me all over. No, I didn't. I take offense to that. I saw the picture. You groped me with your eyes. Oh, totally. Then you don't think I could see it, feel it? You wish? God, you're pretty cocky. Why is all the girls in this game so cocky? Except for childhood friend. I don't think she's that cocky. I think she's sweet and naive. Calm down already, will you? How can you grope someone with your eyes? And anyway, it was your idea to hide in there. True. It was your idea. Maybe you were groping me with said eyes. I can see your blue eyes. You're all like... Yes, that's all there is to it. Ellie looked sad now and she lowered her gaze. I trapped you, didn't I? Now are you blushing? Friggin' tsundere? I suppose it's unbefitting a young lady to behave like this, is it? She smiled sadly. Well, I'm not the best person to give advice on these matters, but for what it's worth, I don't think there is anything wrong with playing a guitar. You must enjoy music a lot, huh? Yes. This time her smile was more genuine. Then I don't see a problem. Just then a distant bell announced it was break time. Alright, I've gotta go, see you. Final parting smile was utterly disarming. I was left standing alone inside an empty music classroom of the empty old wing. What a strange girl. This whole musical interlude made me forget entirely the reason I had wound up here in the first place. I've been looking for Catherine. Had absolutely no desire to go back to class. Where could I expect another scolding? Simply skipping was bad enough, but to have run out of the classroom right in front of the teacher, no thank you. I managed to slip out of the building unnoticed, and here I was, free as a wind, strolling down a sidewalk in one of Tokyo's central districts. I just wanted to chill out. The whole day had been a waste. The only thing I achieved was determining that Catherine had not written yesterday's note. The note. Pleasant thoughts crept into my head. But if she didn't write it, who did? What if it wasn't a prank? Just what was going on? More happened to me in the past day and a half than had over the course of the preceding year and a half. The entire time I didn't really socialize with anyone except maybe Himitsu. Well, add to that Kyosuke and occasionally Michael. Now Catherine was back and there was Kagome and Ellie. What next? Was I gonna turn into a magical girl? Please! You'd be fabulous, man. As if by chance I ended up near a familiar bar. A couple rounds of beers were an absolute must right now. I'd relax, clear my head. You're able to drink? Were you kinda young? The inside wasn't crowded, which made sense for this time of the day. People were supposed to be either at work or at school. Like in that joke about the 3-story building and the hurricane. There's a joke about that. Even though I wasn't a stranger here, I always had a fake passport on the ready. Oh, that's why, okay. Classmate whose father worked in law enforcement had hooked me up at one point. There were lots of students at our school who had these passes to the adult life. How would you prove it wasn't real? A document was a document, especially when someone insolent snot was shoving it in your face. Not to mention that the bar's owner was Russian. Chuckling, he usually told people that he used to be a pirate who got shipwrecked off the coast of Japan. Lol. That was a tall tale, of course. Most likely he was just a regular immigrant like my parents. I sat down at the counter and ordered a beer. Hey, Cola. What's up? You're early today. Yeah, it's just the way it worked out. You aren't going to get in trouble at school, are you? You know how they're strict about these things here. I giggled nervously. Okay, I see. It's none of my business. A good bartender is invariably a good psychologist. It's almost a qualification for the job. Oh, most of the time most bartenders are just like information dump. People normally just tell you stories and all that jazz. Beer at this place was served in pint-sized mugs, which made me very happy. Squealing with pleasure after downing a tiny glass in one gulp was not my thing. Yuck. I took a large draught. Catherine's back. The bartender raised his eyebrows and asked with a feigned surprise. And what are you gonna do now? At times I wondered if showing empathy to customers was something more than just a professional skill for him. What can I do? She hasn't been overeager to talk, and neither have I. At any rate, I'm certainly not gonna throw myself at her. And why has she come back? She says because her mother's work, I suppose. If that is the case, she wouldn't come back by herself, would she? Most likely not. So I'm in the weird spot now, you know how they say. Life is like a zebra, a black stripe followed by a white stripe, then a black one again, then a white one again. Yep, and then the... well, ass. Oh, I don't know why I stopped and said the... I'm weird. Don't mind me. We both laughed. You know what, Cola? Don't get down. Aw, you're so nice, bud. Thanks, he said encouragingly. So he doesn't have names, he's just bartender. You still have your whole life ahead of you. The two of you will make up 100 times over before the end, and if not, you'll find another girl. Just look how many of them are around. Yeah, there's tons of girls around. The bartender spread out his arms, inviting apprehensive looks from a few schoolgirls nestled at a table in the furthest corner of the room. Thanks for the comforting words. There's so much else. Besides that, anyway, life is a full swing. And each swing hits you on the head. Geez, did he keep a glossary of sayings under that counter? The bar door flew open, a group of young people entered. Having immediately recognized among them the punks from the day before, I instinctively buried my face in the mug. Was I scared? So it seemed. They sat down at a table and ordered beer and cocktails for the girls. You know them? The bartender asked, quietly leaning in toward me. I wouldn't say I know them, but we've met. I gave them an occasional sidelong glance. I wondered if I should get up and leave. Wouldn't that look cowardly, though? Then again, to whom? They haven't even noticed me. No sooner did I think that one of the guys got up and walked over to the counter. Hey, I know you. If you say so. I said as calmly as possible without even sparing him a glance. I think you don't know who you're dealing with, Gajin. I'm not dealing with anyone. So it wasn't you who punched my friend in the face yesterday? If it was me, he had deserved it. Really? Or like how long that is. Then, how about we step outside for a little chat? I looked at the bartender, but he only shrugged. Some empathy, damn it. Alright, let's step out. What else could I do? Is that a girl? Half a minute later, we were standing in the alley behind the bar. A couple older guys joined the school kids. Where did they even come from? Not so tough now, are you? Said the one I punched yesterday. They'll teach him to stand up for whores. Looked at the girl. Compared to her, Kagome was a Mother Teresa. Well, what next? Gonna beat me, are you? 4 against 1? That commands some respect. What happened to the code of honor? The Yakuza have one? They sneered at the largest guy among them. You there, you definitely got the mugshot for a thug. The older ruffians clenched their teeth, their expressions changing. What did you say? Let's get it over with already. Thought flashed through my mind, what if I struck first? That way at least I would retain a smidgen of self-respect. But I had no time to decide as a strong blow to my back threw me to the ground. That was low. Their blows hit hard, but they did not go on for long. I curled up into a ball, covering my head with my arms. It hurt. By the time I recovered my senses, those bastards had vanished without a trace. I got up slowly and felt myself all over. Nothing was broken, it seemed. My face was mostly intact as well, except for a black eye. I returned to the bar and sat down in the same seat. I no longer felt like carrying a cordial conversation with the bartender. Although what could he have done? To stand at my side and fight? Call the police? Nonsense. Hey, he pointed off to the side with his eyes. I turned my head. Sitting in just a few feet from me was Catherine. What do you want? You just gonna break my heart again? Or were you the one who started it? Did you like it, those guys over here? Well, hi, I guess. I said a little while later after waiting for her to open the conversation. Fat chance of that happening. Hi, Catherine replied indifferently. I shoved to a close seat while she ordered a cocktail for herself. What's with the face? Nothing serious. She wasn't buying it. I fell. Face first onto concrete several times in a row. Yep, it got lucky this time, but next time victory will be mine. Is that so? Said Catherine apathetically. So are you also missing school? I had to start the conversation in the most neutral way possible. Also? She looked at me askance. Well, it's nothing new to me. I guess it isn't. I heard you went to the principal. Maybe I did. What of it? The tone of her voice didn't change, but her eyes flashed. Kata, I don't want to start everything up again. Then don't. I'm not. Or was I? Just put yourself in my shoes. How would you be reacting? Wouldn't you be asking the same questions? What questions? Fine, I understand you're here because of your mother's work, but this particularly school, why? What, am I getting in your way? Catherine was sipping on her cocktail with an expression of absolute indifference. All signs of yesterday's emotional storm were gone. No, of course not. It's just when I think about how we parted back then. That's all in the past. You don't really think that I should have chosen a different school or changed my life in any way just because of you, do you? Why would I do that? Simply to avoid running into you in extra time? That's not what I was thinking. She was right, actually, I had no comeback. But she was right only if she really didn't feel anything toward me right now. Everything pointed toward this being the case, but I just didn't want to believe that she could be so cruel. So everything's alright? Of course. Then can we remain friends? Barely perceptible smirk appeared on Catherine's face. Do you want us to? Why not? The past is the past. We have to move on, go on living. You sound like someone with PTSD. That's when I started getting worked up. It's all in the past for me as well, if that's what you mean. Is it good? Great. Turned away, pretending to study the menu. Was I ought to get up and leave? That would be it. I'd have to forget all about her for certain. Damn it. Was I really still hoping for something? Each time Catherine hurt me more and more. Felt like a mindless gnat I kept slamming against the glass, as if trying to prove something to someone. In the course of this year and a half, I had become accustomed to living with memories of her that now, when she was so close, I simply couldn't let go of her. These memories seemed like the only hope, the only thing holding me back from doing something foolish and fatal. Was I thinking of something specific? Unlikely, but I was hoping naturally. I see you're not wasting any time. Catherine gave me a surprised look. Nothing was worse than indifference before as she got mad at me. I snatched the cocktail out of her hands and snidely, getting an early start, are we? So I raised the glass to my mouth. I heard Catherine's indifferent voice somewhere in the background. It's not alcoholic. It really was. Sorry. I set the glass back down on the counter. You, on the other hand, have to keep to your habits, I see. What do you mean? Her eyes shot over to the empty beer mug, which I had tried to move as far away as possible. Gosh darn it, bartender. It's been a rough day. Yeah, how so? Are you really interested? Just keeping up the conversation, or would you rather that I ignored you? I sighed and answered. Called in the principal's office. Yep, same reason as always, missing school. Well, you know me, there was also a curious episode with certain Ojo-sama. Your new girlfriend? Are you mocking me? I was just keeping up the conversation. I told you if I'm disturbing you, I can leave. I don't have a girlfriend, nor have I ever, I added in a half-whisper. I see. And how's Himitsu doing? If you're so interested, you could visit and ask her. I don't believe you had a falling out with her. Perhaps I will go see her. Catherine responded vaguely and glanced toward the entrance. Was she about to leave? Something stung on the inside. I wanted her to stay, but you knew she was going to mock me. Himitsu is fine. I don't even know what else to say. Tell you, same as always, basically. Same as always, is she? She drawled. Oops. Are you surprised that someone can actually treat me normally? Of course not. I'm happy for Himitsu, and I'll definitely visit her if I get the chance, but now I need to go. She set the unfinished cocktail down on the counter and stood up. Alright, see you at school. Catherine nodded and exited the bar. Dang, bro, you took a beating. Don't even start. How about a drink on the house? Do you want to make it up to me? No thanks, I think I've had enough for today. I left the bar and stretched. As expected, bruises were aching. And I think I'm just gonna end this episode right here because it seems like a good stopping point. And I don't really like to make my videos too long unless I'm live streaming, but I hope I see you guys around. Bye!